Yeah. No, I saw that. I mean, there's been sort of building up, and the new trailer broke this weekend. Um, I'm actually that really got me quite excited about it for a few reasons. First off, Brad Bird, I liked his like The Incredibles and stuff. This movie to me has been something that um, I've been aware of, but the trailer really kind of caught my attention of what it's about more now. I've seen this one where she touches the pin and she's flipping in and out of the future and the past, and it looks like she ends up meeting up with George Clooney, and then they've ended up got to go into the future and save the future. And it just looked really cool, and I'm really intrigued by it. And also, it would be good to see George Clooney in a movie that people want to go see, rather than some Oscar kind of really heavy movie that he tends to do a lot of. He hasn't done a lot of like what I call blockbusters for quite a while now, and I've liked George Clooney ever since he was in ER. So yeah, it'd be quite fun to see him in something maybe a little bit more light-hearted. I'm not saying Batman and Robin, but I've got to be honest, I didn't like it when it came out.
No, no, horrible. One of the worst Batmans ever.
It was awful, but when it came out, it was like, he wasn't the worst thing in the movie.
No, yeah, no. I think he was definitely one of the worst Batmans. I mean, I think Val Kilmer takes the trophy as the worst Batman, but George Clooney was right behind him.
Yeah. But what did you think of that? The Tomorrowland trailer?
Well, check this out. I first heard of this movie in 2013 at D23, and the way they were pitching this movie, it kind of made it seem very intriguing. I mean, basically Brad Bird was talking about how this movie was inspired by in the Disney and the Disney Studios out of Burbank. They have this huge archive, and there's a big underground archive, and they found this box with these things that have never been really looked at, and they have like a blueprint of like unbuilt rides and these like different little like these pictures and like all these different little objects that kind of led to this idea, and it made it seem so mysterious to the point where they had this weird and vague display at D23, which is kind of, I mean, it built quite a following, because there was a huge line trying to get in just to see this little exhibit. Not to mention they had like a little scavenger hunt too, that led you into the theme park, which was kind of cool. But now it's evolved, and now you see more ideas of how this whole movie is unfolding, and I kind of see the connection. I think that pin that she picks up, the main lead girl that she picks up, kind of has this tie-in with the whole story. But if there's anything that I dislike a little bit, it kind of feels like Meet the Robinsons live action to me for some reason. I don't know if you've ever.
I've never seen that movie. No.
Okay, well, it kind of has a little similar feel to it. I mean, obviously it's a little bit more futuristic than Meet the Robinsons, but what is cool about this movie though is the fact, you do have George Clooney. He is a great actor. And I'm definitely, like you said, I'm definitely glad to see him in a movie like this, like a family-friendly movie. But it's just those small clips that you see of Tomorrowland. I mean, you see the structure that looks like Space Mountain, and
well, it is Space Mountain. It's not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, we don't know if it really is the real Space Mountain.
Well,
it looks like it, because who knows if inside is like maybe a research facility. You never know.
No, it's just a metal thing that you glide around on. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Shoots you at the top.
So it just looks cool. It looks very, very interesting. I am kind of intrigued. Definitely want to see it. Way more than Cinderella, obviously.
Yeah,
but it looks cool. I'm excited for it. That new trailer looked really, really cool. The clock or the timer that they had kind of reminded me of one of those like puzzles that you need to unlock with a sequence of numbers. I mean, it looks like there's so much mystery to it that I'm like it's intriguing. It kind of like draws you to go see it. So.
But also for me, I'm quite interested to see Hugh Laurie in it, because I can't quite work out if he's going to be the villain or if he's going to. Because at one point he kind of has a sort of a deep voice, like he's going to save us, and then the next minute they're walking together, and he said, "Oh, he's trying to save the future or something." So I'm not quite sure how his character fits into it.
Yeah, it
Um,
kind of looks like one of those characters that turns out to be like, or it looks like he's a good guy, but turns out to be the bad guy type of thing.
mhm. But yeah, I mean, I think with linking it in with Tomorrowland, obviously it has that huge connection with Disneyland and the parks, and so many people now have got that connection to that zone. There's a lot of expectations. Um, there definitely seems to be a push this year between that movie and this Miles from Tomorrowland cartoon as well, that they're trying to sort of modernize Tomorrowland and maybe reconnect it with people. I think after the success of Pirates of the Caribbean, they've been looking at how they can use ideas from the parks to make a movie. But
Yeah,
I've always felt, for when you had, you know, we also had the Haunted Mansion movie. So
which was yeah.
so there's always, just because they've got a really good idea, it has to be right. It has to stand on its own 2 feet as a good story and a good
Right.
movie. Nostalgia will only get it so far.
That's true. Well, hopefully Guillermo del Toro eventually works on the Haunted Mansion movie he had in mind. That would be cool, but that's like way in the history. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think as well. I think,
Go ahead.
I mean, I think aren't they working on a TV series based on the Big Thunder Mountain as well? Um,
I
but I haven't heard
think,
anything about that for ages.
yeah, I haven't heard anything about that either. I mean, the only thing that I also heard, obviously, and you kind of talked about it a little bit, and I heard about this about a month ago, was um, starting production on Pirates of the Caribbean 5 as well. That's later this year. But
Yeah,
other than that, that's all I've heard.
and let's be honest, there's not really a lot of a huge connection to the actual theme park. It was, Jack just a great character and a great story, and they could have called it something else. It probably would have done just as well.
Well, I think it's because it was inspired by the ride that's why the name stuck. And then, not to mention, through bits and pieces of the movie, you do see scenes from the ride. So
Only
that
if
does
you
kind of
really pay attention, though, isn't it?
well, if you're a fan of the rides, you definitely because Pirates of the Caribbean is my favorite ride in Disneyland. So it's like when I see it, or even when it's pitch black and you hear "Dead Man Tell No Tell,"
Yeah,
like, oh, obviously we know, but
yeah.
it just depends on how hardcore of a fan you are. Because even in the god awful Haunted Mansion movie with Eddie Murphy,
Oh, there's a lot of
um,
nods.
yeah, there's a lot of great references as well, but
Mm.
only for those theme park fans that could, they'd notice that.
Yeah, if you ignore Eddie Murphy, the rest of it's fine. Okay. So also there was a so I do there was another trailer that